Good day, sir. I am Lovely Joy B. Roble, and I am tasked to discuss about the local history, its content, and concept. According to Rogers 1997, local history has been defined as the study of the past of some significant local unit developing as a community in its context and compared with other units. It deals more on the history of smaller communities such as town, province, or region. It is giving importance on historical studies below the national level but higher than the level of the individual. According to Bauzo 1978, the scope of local history is necessarily a local area or a position in space that is geographically limited. It can be a barrio, a town, a district, or possibly province. It is the task of the local historian to study the local area from the ethno-historical, social, political, religious, and economic standpoints or from other points of view. The key to understanding the different cultures and perspective of small communities, it presents the past events and experiences of single communities that live equally unique among the others. So, it can be history of municipality, countryside, and residential area or a metropolis neighborhood. The study of local history gives us a better sense of truthfulness in the surroundings where people live. The national history can be completely read and realized when there are collective recordings of the local history. This is according to Healy, 2008. Appreciation of the national history begins from the local history. Therefore, history is not about the past, but its connection to our everyday lives. Collective recordings of local history serves as essential components in piecing together a larger puzzle of national history. They enrich our understanding, challenge prevailing narratives, and offer insights into the complexities of the past. Therefore, efforts to preserve and study local histories are integral to achieving a comprehensive understanding of a nation's historical trajectory. Examples are the historical works of Felix Kissing's Ethnohistory of Northern Luzon in 1962, Najib Salibi's Studies in Moro History, Law and Religion in 1976, Pedro Salgado's Cagayan Valley and Eastern Cordillera 1581 to 1898, Isabelo de los Reyes' Historia de Locos 1890, and other similar studies that emphasize rural history. There are five goals of local history. Number one, to allow the students to be directly engaged in doing it. So this will bring a higher sense of community involvement, collaboration, and commitment. Number two, in doing local history, an eyewitness to the event will have to take note and consider examining it with someone else. So, interpretation in the conclusion form in the outcome from examining historical evidence. Number three, see what sources are available and how they can be used considering the nature and background of the sources. So, in using documents, reasons for its preservation, who had written it, and the motive of its writing should be considered. Upon learning how to use primary sources, students may come to know that history is not limited to the heroes and great people. It could be written by ordinary masses. Number four, time, element, and place where the event took place should be considered. There must be truthfulness and adequacy from the eyewitness. And lastly, Master the art of questioning and inquiry to find out the answer to questions. Engage with local experts and elders. Reach out to local historians, librarians, community leaders, and older residents who may have valuable insights and stories about the area's history. Explore archives, historical societies, and museums in your area to access additional resources and artifacts related to local history. So, why local history matters? Locations and objects in your community, sometimes things as ordinary as names of streets, can reflect the long heritage of the past generations where you live. Local history gives us a whole new perspective toward crucial events that took place in our communities. In the past, writing history was concentrated in the general events that transpired in a country. There were limited writings that were done to include local history. So, by understanding more of local history, creates historical patterns that transform into detailed stories that tell the beginning of huge events and the lives of ordinary individuals. The importance of local history in Philippine history. The critical importance of local history in understanding and the writing of a true national history cannot just be ignored. The rationale behind the need to come up with local history is the realization of the unrepresentative and limited nature of Philippine history. What is generally considered to be the history of the Filipino people is essentially the history of Central Luzon, most especially the Tagalogs. Important events and developments, including personages, particularly in the Visayas and Mindanao, are at best mentioned in passing and at worst altogether left out. The consequence in this respect is the misinterpretation of Philippine history by not taking into full account the unique differential character of the historical and cultural experiences of the various ethnic groups in scattered geographical units of the country. That was according to Fonteca 2008. Local history is expectedly closest to the people's heart and consciousness because it reflects their own identity, experiences, and aspirations. It is the interpretative recreation of the past of their locality, embracing its political, social, economic, and cultural life. This includes the development of institutions in the geographical unit and the successes and failures of its people. Thus, in order to understand and consequently appreciate Philippine history, one should first know the history of his own locality and its contributions to regional development and overall nation building. One may never achieve a fuller understanding of the Filipinos and the Philippines if he failed to study the history of his or her town, city, province, or region. Local history as a specific area of investigation is relevant to the students of history for particular reasons. Cruz 1982 has enumerated some of its relevance. Number 1. It may probably lead to revision of interpretations in major areas of Philippine history. Most historians and scholars agree that Philippine history is focused on the history of Central Luzon. Important events and developments, including personalities in other places of the country, were left out. Number 2. It can be the basis for other theses about national history. As I said earlier, the historical accounts derive from regions, provinces, cities, and municipalities. May be considered little, but they can be considered as significant pieces of the larger mosaic, which is our national history. Number 3. It focuses attention on the history of the people or history from bottom up. The concentration of the local history is on the documentation and analysis of historical processes, which are important to the life of people. Its content reflects the identity or experiences and aspirations of people.